My friend's vegan wife swapped my milk with almond milk, went through my luggage to check for meat, and mocked me for not noticing what she did, so I'm done with that trash. Posted by you/absent-minded author. I know I'm partially at fault for the friendship ending, and I'm willing to accept my judgment. This is really long, sorry. In November of last year, I, female, went to visit a friend, we'll call him Kevin, and stayed at his and his wife's house. Early last year, Kevin and his wife, we'll call her Karen, moved a couple of states away. For context, we are all over the age of 35, and Kevin and I were part of a friend group from an old job. Another couple from the friend group went on this trip as well, but they were also visiting family and stayed with them. Prior to the move, our friend group didn't have much interaction with Karen because she rarely joined us, though she was always invited. They also never hosted us at their old house. They are vegan. I am not. Well, Kevin is not fully vegan, as he eats fish. However, his wife does the grocery shopping, so everything besides fish is vegan, and he eats and drinks it. He buys his own fish and has a mini kitchen to prep his meals away from hers. For even more context, Karen is not vegan for health reasons. She constantly brings up their veganism, no matter how irrelevant it is to the conversation, makes fun of people who eat meat or use products made with animal byproducts, accuses people of murder, etc., except she leaves Kevin alone. She calls any food that isn't vegan trash and garbage. For example, when we'd hang out before they moved and she happened to be there, she would ask how people could eat such garbage whenever any of us ate meat. It was annoying, but I never got confrontational about it. The day before I visited them, Karen sent a short list of rules regarding food. One rule was that I couldn't store non-vegan food items in their kitchen. I asked if I could bring milk, and she agreed, but it had to be kept in the fish fridge. All the food I ate at their house tasted off, even the breakfast waffles and the tuna casserole Kevin made for the two of us on Saturday afternoon. It didn't taste spoiled, just off. Weird, and a little gross. I've never eaten vegan before, so I assumed it was just the difference in ingredients. I couldn't eat more than a few bites. Fortunately, I packed some protein snacks, non-vegan, that I kept in my room, zipped in a canvas bag at the bottom of my suitcase. I wasn't explicitly prohibited from bringing snacks into my room. I kept my trash and disposed of it after leaving. I also ate some street food at the market that Kevin, our friends, and I visited Saturday afternoon, and ate like a horse at the restaurant we went to Saturday night, no shame, lol. My husband and I were supposed to visit them again this weekend, but Karen called me a couple of hours ago. She told me I wouldn't be allowed to bring milk this time. She also said my husband and I couldn't bring snacks and that I should have asked for permission last time. Apparently, she had gone through my suitcase when Kevin, our friends, and I were out at the market and found my snacks. On top of that, she told me she replaced my milk with almond milk and found it hilarious. I drank some milk Friday night before bed and another glass Saturday morning. Then, Kevin told me he'd used it to make waffles and wanted to save the rest for the casserole at lunch. What actually happened was, after I poured my glass Saturday morning, Karen dumped the rest out and replaced it with almond milk. Kevin knew but didn't tell me. I didn't check because he said he wanted to save it. The waffles and casserole were made with almond milk. I was so mad I knew I couldn't say anything nice. I told her I had another call coming in and hung up. After calming down, I called back to ask why she went through my suitcase and dumped my milk. She said it was her house, and she had a right to know, so she could go through my things. She dumped the milk because nobody can tell the difference between cow's milk and almond milk, and I wouldn't have known if she hadn't told me. I called her a controlling, self-centered freak, told her that Kevin has a stash of real cheese hidden in the fish fridge that he sneaks into his food, and hung up on her. Then I called Kevin. He sided with her, saying I crossed the line by asking to bring milk and that it was rude to order meat at dinner. We argued, and I told him it seems like our lives are going in different directions and we don't need to be friends anymore. I probably should have asked if it was okay to have non-vegan snacks in my room, or I could have kept them in my car. I also shouldn't have called her names. I was a guest in their house, and Kevin has half convinced me that I should have respected Karen's veganism and not brought non-vegan food at all. My husband thinks they're completely in the wrong and that, since their lifestyle isn't one most people follow, they should have made exceptions, especially since Kevin gets a fish exception. He's also furious that Karen went through my stuff and pointed out that if I were allergic to almonds, I could have gotten very sick. He thinks I'm better off without them and says ending the friendship was reasonable. He and Kevin got along but weren't particularly close, just like Karen and me. A few minutes ago, I got a "hey, can we talk" text. Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to respond. I'm just kind of done with it. Edit. I'm so sorry that I can't respond to all of your comments, just know that I am reading them. I'm calling Kevin on my lunch break today and will post an update afterward, since so many people have asked for one. Commenter. I would have told her you could tell because you thought her cooking was rancid, But you were simply too polite to say anything, and that's why you ate everything in sight when you left her house. And if she even thinks about snooping through your property again, you'll leave something worth finding, like a Ziploc bag of human crap. Don't worry, it was donated willingly, so it's vegan. But not really, because you totally ate meat in there. Also, I would be crapping in her toilet and not flushing, just in case she wanted to inspect that too. Update 1 day later. This is a long update, but it's the last one. First, thank you to everyone who responded. Your comments were not only helpful, but some made me cackle in a very unladylike manner. Secondly, I wanted to clarify that the bag Karen found in my suitcase contained emergency cash, a credit card, and snacks. It was hidden in my suitcase to keep it safe, not to hide food. I wasn't sneaking it in, important later, but I did have protein bars in there just in case I had issues with their food. Naughty me, I guess. I responded to Kevin yesterday and told him I needed some time to think and that I'd get back to him today. I took some of your advice and reached out to our friend group last night. After the group chat and a private conversation with the friends who were there that weekend, I learned some things. Long story short, out of our core group of 6, I'm the only one who kept up with Kevin. The only reason those 2 friends accepted Kevin's invitation that weekend was because I was going. Visiting family was a bonus. After taking the rest of the night to think about it and sleep on it, I realized that all of you were right about Kevin's complicity regarding the milk switch. I hadn't paid as much attention as I should have because I was so focused on the fact that Karen switched the milk to begin with. I also realized he never actually said anything in response to my telling him that Karen confessed to going through my stuff when I called him yesterday. He changed the subject instead, talking about how it was rude to ask to bring milk. Anyway, I called Kevin on my lunch break today and ran down the list of issues: Karen going through my suitcase, him not telling me about the milk switch, Karen switching the milk to begin with after telling me I could bring it, and how would I eat is none of their business as long as I'm not contaminating their food. Basically, he told me the only thing he would apologize for was saying it was rude to order non-vegan food at the restaurant. He said that since they had plenty of food in the house for me to eat, he didn't have to apologize for anything else. Apparently, Karen had told him not to tell me about the milk switch because she was trying to prove that I couldn't tell the difference between vegan and non-vegan food, essentially the same thing she said to me yesterday. I told him that since I didn't eat any of it except a few bites, clearly I could tell the difference. He also said he was eventually going to tell me about it but forgot. I said she could have just said no when I asked to bring milk instead of being a swampy bumhole about it. He said that although he didn't agree with Karen going through my things, I wasn't owed an apology because I broke the rules by sneaking meat into their house. There was a meat stick in that canvas bag. I told him I had only been told I couldn't have non-vegan food in both kitchens and that the meat stick was left over from my drive to their house. As long as I didn't switch it with their food like a certain someone, I hadn't done anything wrong. The last thing he told me was that I wasn't getting an apology because, after I told Karen about his cheese stash yesterday afternoon, she unplugged his fish fridge. He didn't get home from work until late, and, according to his Google search, all the refrigerated fish had to be thrown away. This is apparently my fault. He said we were even now. He didn't tell me about the milk switch, and I snitched about his cheese. I tried explaining that they weren't the same thing and that I wasn't responsible for what she did, but he didn't care and said he knew I wasn't allergic to nuts. I don't remember ever discussing that with him, but whatever. I asked if he truly believed that I didn't deserve any apologies from either of them, and he said yes. I told him that if he couldn't see what they did wrong and apologize, I couldn't help him, and to give me a call when he got his balls back from his wife. He hung up on me. Yesterday, I thought I owed him an apology because I was wrong. I thought if I gave him one, we could maintain a friendship. Today, I think the problem was that I was holding on to something that didn't exist anymore. Until you guys reality checked me, I ignored a lot of things and gaslit myself. So thank you, everybody, for the smack to the back of the head. Everyone should have people like you in their lives. Thanks for reading.